Imagine walking out of work after a long day, reaching into your pocket for your keys and realizing your car isn't where you left it. At first you wonder if you parked on another street, then you notice the empty space, the broken routine, and the uncomfortable realization that the vehicle you relied on every day is gone. For many people, repossession feels like it happened overnight, but the reality is usually very different. The tow truck is simply the final step in a process that began weeks or even months earlier, shaped by loan contracts, financial pressure, and a series of small decisions that gradually became impossible to reverse. Understanding that process reveals something much larger than a single missed payment. It reveals how modern debt systems work, why they are designed the way they are, and why millions of people underestimate just how expensive financial stress can become. As dramatic as repossession appears, lenders generally do not make money by taking cars away. Their business is built around borrowers making payments over many years, because interest collected over the life of a loan is usually more valuable than recovering and selling a used vehicle. A repossession represents a loan that has failed. It creates towing costs, storage expenses, administrative work, legal procedures in some places, and the uncertainty of selling a depreciating asset. The lender's objective is typically to recover as much of the unpaid balance as possible, not to punish the borrower. That distinction matters because it shifts the conversation away from blame and toward understanding the financial mechanics behind the event. The psychological side of car ownership often begins long before anyone signs a loan agreement. Most people do not buy transportation alone. They buy convenience, independence, security, and sometimes identity. Advertisements rarely focus on interest calculations or depreciation. Instead, they present freedom, success, family, and achievement. This emotional framing makes monthly payments feel more manageable than the total cost of ownership. A vehicle that costs tens of thousands of dollars is mentally converted into a number that fits comfortably within a monthly budget, even though insurance, maintenance, registration, fuel, and unexpected repairs continue adding to the real cost. Behavioral economists sometimes describe this as payment framing. Instead of evaluating the complete financial commitment, our brains naturally focus on what seems immediately affordable. A difference of $50 or $100 per month can influence a purchasing decision even when the total loan cost differs by several $1,000s over its lifetime. The result is that many buyers stretch their budgets slightly further than they originally intended, believing future income will make today's payment easier. Sometimes that assumption proves correct. Sometimes life changes first. A job loss, reduced work hours, medical expenses, inflation, or an emergency repair can suddenly transform a manageable payment into a difficult one. Importantly, financial problems rarely arrive one at a time. They tend to stack together. Someone facing lower income may also delay routine maintenance, accumulate credit card balances for daily expenses, and begin choosing which bills to pay first. The car payment becomes part of a larger financial puzzle rather than an isolated obligation. When a borrower misses a payment, the process does not always move immediately toward repossession. Loan agreements vary, regulations differ across jurisdictions, and lenders often attempt communication before taking further action. Borrowers may receive reminders, late fees, opportunities to catch up, or discussions about hardship options. However, once delinquency continues beyond the terms outlined in the contract, the lender may decide that recovering the vehicle presents less financial risk than allowing the unpaid balance to grow further. Many people assume repossession erases the debt, but that is often not how the numbers work. After a vehicle is repossessed, it is commonly sold, frequently at auction where prices may be lower than traditional retail values. If the sale price, after expenses, does not fully cover the remaining loan balance, the borrower may still owe the difference depending on local laws and the loan agreement. This remaining amount is commonly known as a deficiency balance. In other words, losing the car does not necessarily mean the financial obligation disappears. For some borrowers, it marks the beginning of a different financial challenge. There is another psychological effect that receives less attention. Losing reliable transportation often creates additional costs beyond the loan itself. Commuting to work becomes more difficult. Public transportation may not be available or practical. Rideshare services become recurring expenses. Job opportunities may become limited by geography rather than skill. What initially appeared to be a debt problem can gradually become an income problem because mobility affects earning potential in many parts of the world. This does not mean financing a vehicle is inherently good or bad. Credit itself is simply a financial tool. Like any tool, its usefulness depends on how it is applied. For some households, financing reliable transportation enables stable employment, higher earnings, and long-term financial progress. For others, borrowing beyond a comfortable margin leaves little room for uncertainty. The difference often lies not in the loan itself, but in the resilience built around it. Ultimately, a repossessed car is rarely the true beginning of a financial crisis. More often, it is the visible outcome of pressures that accumulated gradually beneath the surface. By the time the tow truck arrives, the mathematics of cash flow, debt obligations, and unexpected expenses have usually been working against the borrower for quite some time. Looking beyond the moment of repossession helps us understand a broader lesson about money itself. Financial systems are built on contracts and numbers, but the people moving through those systems are influenced by psychology, uncertainty, and changing circumstances. Recognizing both sides allows us to make more informed decisions, not because it guarantees a particular outcome, but because understanding the system makes it easier to navigate when life becomes unpredictable.